Hey everybody. As usual, we're connecting dots. Yesterday we talked about happiness and the Beatitudes. Uh, Today we're going to talk a little more on the topic of happiness. We're going to go to 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 6 through 8. Remember that the person who plants few seeds will have a small crop. The one who plants many seeds will have a large crop. Each one should give then as he has decided, not with regret or out of a sense of duty, for God loves the one who gives gladly, and God is able to give you more than you need, so that you will always have all your need for yourselves and more than enough for every good cause. The Lord loves a cheerful giver. And this was also part of the Sermon on the Mount. Worry for nothing. If God, feeds the ravens and clothes the grass, what are you worried about? That's what that's talking about. You will have provision. I am living this. I've talked before. Part of my testimony is since that heart attack, and I haven't, been working in the general sense. The worldly sense, but all my needs are met. The only thing I've given up is my vices. And I have everything else that I need. That's what faith is. That's true belief. I've seen it enough with my own eyes. That's why I know that this is the truth. Because again, I have experienced it for myself. That's part of what we're doing here. That's my testimony. I can speak on it from personal experience, on a lot of it. But basically it comes down to, again, we talked about the law of love. Look out for one another. God will not give you a blessing that you are not going to share. That's what grace, mercy, forgiveness, these are all things that we want from God. But if you want Him to give it to you, you got to share it with everybody else. That's one of the things we got in this topsy-turvy world. There's people that were blessed to have, material wealth. But they're not doing, positive things with it. They're not making, great change. They're just, I'm in the world, not of it. This is not my home. I have always felt that way. I've never belonged here. Not in the systems that are currently in place. I've always seen things differently. That's, again, the gifts I prayed for. One of the jokes I made, joke that's not really a joke, when I first joined the Bible study at the church, I said something along the lines of, I might not be as wise as Solomon, but that's what I asked for, so that's why I study the way I do. I want to know it. It has to be sincere. Look at David. David was, by the letter, he was a horrible example. He broke every commandment there is, basically. Yet, he was a man after God's own heart. Why is that? Because he was sincere. Yes, he screwed up. Yes, he got things wrong. But he genuinely repented. And he was honest. He was open. He knew the situation. He knew he was falling short. He knew he was not worthy. That's what all the Psalms... David wrote all the Psalms. Well, most of them at least. There's some contention on all, but again, that part isn't important. That's semantics. It's the message, the principle. That's the important part. Anywho, that's today's moment of truth. As usual, take care of yourselves. Try and help take care of each other. I'll see you in the next one.